And it's my pleasure to welcome to the studio now Céline and Chanelle. You may have seen recent news reports about their advocacy work, and they're here to talk about it. So welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Oh, well, it's great to have you here. And so, Chanelle, you were diagnosed pretty young with cystic fibrosis.
Yes.
So maybe we could start with a little bit about what exactly CF is, for those who may not be aware, and how it has impacted you and the family.
I guess I'll describe it as our salt doesn't transfer or travel properly within our cells. So the salt thins out your mucus, but because it's not traveling, ours is all thick. So it kind of just stays there. And then staying there, if you catch a cold, a bacteria, it stays in your body because it's not moving. And then it's just the vicious cycle of then performs scar tissue, and then you're prone to more infections, and it's just a bad cycle.
And it affects everywhere mucus goes. So it's not just lungs, because before I found out what it was, I thought it was just lungs, but it's not. It's digestive.
Anywhere with mucus, so digestive, reproductive, everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's
all the organs.
All the organs. So it's really been a lifetime of dealing with this, eh? And all the things that go with it, and I'm sure for the family as well. It's just been, all the support that you guys provide, but it definitely impacts things.
Definitely.
All right, so there is some hope on the horizon, but that's why we're here to talk, because that hope hasn't so far crossed into the borders of Canada. So maybe you can give us a little
Okay,
they have, but
so it is in Canada. Trikafta is the medication, which is for some a cure. It's in Canada, but how it works is 90% of people with cystic fibrosis have a gene called delta 508. And Chanelle doesn't have it. She's in the 10%. So this medication, when it was first made, was made to trigger delta 508. And it works. It's great. But so it got accepted in Canada 2 years ago. So now in the US, since 2 years now, they've also accepted it on an extra 177 genes that they've proven that it works on. And Chanelle's gene is in one of those. But Canada just won't acknowledge it at this moment. They're doing their own clinical trial. The clinical trial has been done in the US, and in Canada they just won't accept theirs. They want to do their own. They don't want lab results, because at sick kids they can take cells from your nose and put the medication right on it, and they'll let you know if it works or not. They won't accept lab results as well. But the country Israel, amongst other countries, uses our data from Toronto to treat their patients, but yet we won't use our own. Like, yes, the medication's expensive. How much money is this clinical trial costing? It just makes no sense to me. Like, they're just being stubborn.
And you mentioned the cost of the medication. So at the end of the day, you are able to access the medication, but because it's not approved, you're not able to. It's not covered by things like insurance, whether it be provincial or private. So talk to me about that, because obviously that's a big hurdle, because you could absolutely access the medication, but that price tag.
If it was $20,000, $50,000, whatever, it's our daughter. But $320,000 approximately per year, and it's crazy, but it's a new med, and it's the only company that has it right now, and that's how it is. That's expensive. It's expensive to treat sick people. In Canada, how it works is that it's covered for the 90%, and she can have it prescribed to her, but it wouldn't be funded. So it would be considered off-label for her. So we would have to pay out of our pockets $320,000, even if it works, if it's covered in Messina. We can just take a canoe there. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so obviously you've heard stories and seen how it's working in the U.S. for those that are able to access it there. What would it mean having access to this medication? How would that change your life?
Well, in January I had my entire right lung removed. So the whole point right now is to preserve my good one, my left one. I say good, but it's obviously, it still has CF. And if you consider like under 30% function good. But preserving it, but sure it'll preserve it, but it'll also almost reverse damage. It'll help improve. Some people gain up to 20% function back. Some people get off the list of transplant if they're on it. It's just like the push you need to live.
Absolutely. So literally life-changing stuff if you're able to access it. So obviously you've been raising awareness about this. Talk to me a little bit about some of the advocacy work you've been doing to try to get the government to maybe speed things up a little bit.
I'm a hairdresser. Like, bureaucracy, politics, it's not my thing, nor did I ever really have an interest in it. I probably still don't. But I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to start. I wrote a letter to the health minister, and she gave me like a very generic response. But like the first little paragraph was written by someone, and it just said, these are the steps that you need to do. We are doing those steps. We've have them already half done, and the other half are on our way. But, and if it's still no, then what should I do? Like, what would you do if it was your daughter? That's what I keep asking her publicly. I haven't gotten an answer on that one yet. But, so I wrote this letter to her, and then I started writing to a few media outlets. And CTV was the first to reach out to us, along with CBC. And they came over within 2 days, and I don't know if you've seen the footage, but like that went on. And then the Ottawa Citizen, that was published throughout all of Ontario. We've done the show This Hour with Angie Seth, which she asked us to come back on as well. Today, a French Ontario, I guess newspaper, but online kind of thing, was just released today. I don't know, like I'm just knocking on every door. So that's the media outlet. Like, you know, we have a family member and friends who started a GoFundMe. Like, is it realistic to want to raise $320,000 for 1 year? I mean, not really, but we got to do something. And also, when I say it's 320, we need to have enough money or enough funds to buy for 1 year, because she can't start and stop. It could be detrimental, so you can't come off of it. So that's why the amount is so large. We're going for a full year by the time the clinical trial is done. Chanelle's specialist has written a plea letter, and she says, like, you know, like, it's not expected to end not till the end of the year. But then I'm sure it's not just like, okay, December 31st, here's your prescription. That's not how it works. And she can't wait, period. She just can't wait. So we have been writing to the health minister, and I've asked everybody to feel free to send her a letter and to kind of prepare her, because her doctor has put in EAP. It's an exceptional access program. It's to make an exception, and it was denied. So then, and that's by a panel. It's not the health minister yet. So now her doctor is to make an appeal. So I'm not sure if it was done this week or it's going to be done this week coming. It's right coming anytime. And as soon as that's in, then our local MPP, but not just that, I wrote to every single MPP. And then for them, they can stand behind the appeal. And then that's how it could maybe get approved. And if it doesn't, I don't know.
Well, we're going to have our fingers crossed and hope that it does get approved as quickly as possible. So again, if our viewers want to support this, there is the GoFundMe, and as well, write a letter if we need as much people showing their support for this as possible. So we'll have that up on the screen of how people can either access the GoFundMe or write a letter again to either their MPP or the health minister. So thank you so much for joining us. I know this is a very difficult subject matter, but it's very important work that you're doing. That I know will not only benefit Chanelle and your family, but others that come after.
This is
as well.
like it's a 3-level fight, if you want. Like the first level, obviously we're trying to get her the medication, but if it goes through the politics, she's going to have to open the door for the 10%, because she's not better than anybody else, right? She she's part of that 10%. She's going to have to give access to the 10%, which is 200 people in Canada. And then the next level to that is that cystic fibrosis is part of the rare diseases. And the bigger fight that is going on that kind of entails all this is that rare diseases in Canada, if you have whatever, and let's say in France there's a medication that works for you, they won't acknowledge it. They won't fund it. They won't acknowledge it. They won't even look at it. So a lot of people are not being treated, and this is an awful fact, but it's a fact. Some people that are super sick, they qualify for MAID because they're done suffering. That's awful. This is Canada. So this is also an element of that big fight. So, and that affects 1.5 million people in Canada.
Wow. It absolutely takes trailblazers like yourself. Like you said, this isn't a fight that you chose, but it's one that's so important and will benefit millions of people down the line. But it all starts at home. So I know the community is already starting to support, and I know that they will continue to do so. So thank you so much for coming here, sharing your story, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.